Hi everybody, so I chose to research existential psychotherapy. So this video is just going to be a brief overview of what I've learned over the past couple of weeks. So just to start out, existential psychotherapy looks at the human condition as a whole. And so it takes a more philosophical approach to looking at life, which is a bit different than other theories. It also places a lot of importance on personal experiences and kind of what you go through on a more individual basis. And so I think just overall it's really important to look at existential therapy just because it has a unique way of reaching its clients, and so I think that can be very beneficial, especially when working in the counseling profession. So in looking at the history of existential psychotherapy, it is a fairly new theory. It came about after World War I and II, about mid-20th century, and it really assisted those that were in a depressive state and those that were anxious as to what was to come after the war. And so just to kind of come ahead, there have been several theories that have derived from existential psychotherapy, and just to name a couple, there's logotherapy and then American humanistic. And so now looking at the founders of existential psychotherapy, there are two men that need to be recognized. The first one is Rollo May. He is considered to be the father of existential psychotherapy, and he saw anxiety as a vital part of life, and so that can be kind of seen differently in other theories. He also explored the differences between neurotic anxiety and existential anxiety. And then the second person is Irvin Yalom. He defined this theory as the approach that focuses on issues that derive from one's existence. And so that's a bit different because it's looking at the person on an individual versus aspects that may have affected them. And so overall, this theory, like from the mid-20th century to now, it has looked at how life has become, how it's developed, and how it has evolved. So in looking at possessing a self, this theory looks at not only what somebody went through, but what shaped them and how they have reflected and grown from that situation. And so a lot of times clients will find themselves asking, who am I? Does life have a meaning, etc., etc.? And the answers to those questions kind of guide what life means to them. And so that kind of helps them to find their self. Humans are seen to be responsible for how they turn out and what occurs in their life, but they are also believed to have the ability to reach self-actualization. And so those are very different things, but I think that that's a great motivator for this theory. A lot of growth happens outside of the counseling session just because this theory really does work to help that person embrace who they are. And so a lot of that just happens outside of the session. And then also anxiety is used to help sort through issues. So a quote that I really liked whenever I was researching, it was around the lines of, anxiety is a teacher, not an obstacle or something that should be removed or avoided. And so I just thought that was really a nice touch because anxiety gets such a bad rep, but it could actually be a motivator for change, and anxiety is considered to be healthy. So also looking at living in healthiness, they had this thing called living in good faith, which was somebody that goes about themselves, they're unbothered, they're living for themselves. And then there's also a type of person that lives in bad faith, and that person is only centered around the anxiety that they feel, and they are unauthentic and dishonest to themselves. Existential therapy can be used on a wide variety of people, but it has been seen more so in non-Western cultures. Themes within this theory have been seen to help more females than males, and that could be due to a lot of the concepts being found within feminist therapy. So lastly, existential therapy doesn't necessarily view mental illnesses as just solely a brain disorder. It sees these as responses. And so, for example, anxiety, that's just a response to something that occurs to us. And that is a normal aspect of life. And so it just sees more so mental illnesses as things that are bound to happen. And they're just kind of part of life. So tell me, what are some things that make you happy?
My family and friends are very important to me because I spend a lot of time with them.
Okay.
I like my Jeep because it's everything that I ever wanted, and work is also really important to me.
Okay, and what seems to be important to you currently?
My grandma is a big part of my life. I spend a lot of time with her. She's my favorite in my family. Buying a house is very important to me right now, and also being successful in a work setting.
Okay, and have these aspects always been important to you?
No, I think I've grown a lot over the years as I've gotten older, but I also feel like something is still missing in my life.
Okay, let's dive into that a little more. I noticed that you're picking at your fingers. Can you tell me what you're currently feeling?
I'm feeling somewhat anxious right now.
Okay, so does the picking at your fingers help with that feeling?
Yes, it helps me to have release. It helps to calm me down.
Okay, but do you know that anxiety is actually a common, normal part of life, and that is what is considered healthy, so it's actually a good thing. So is there anything currently bothering you?
I'm having issues with my mother.
Okay, is there anything in particular?
Yes, she's getting married in 3 months and it's really bothering me.
Well, you know, that kind of relates to me a lot. My mom recently married a man, and it was kind of sudden for me. And so I really had to place myself in her shoes. And while I was hurt for the longest time, I just had to take it day at a time, so day by day, and I got through it. So in a previous session, you had mentioned that you were terrified of spiders. Can you talk a little more about that?
Yeah, I'm just afraid of them. I flinch when I see them and I feel like they're out to get me.
Okay, well, it is normal to have those fears, but not to the point to where it kind of affects your life. So are you really terrified of something that is the size of a quarter?
Well, when you put it like that, it kind of makes it sound silly. Can I tell you about a dream I recently had?
Yes, we can tell a lot from our dreams, so go ahead.
Well, this dream is reoccurring.
Okay, could you tell me more about this dream and kind of walk me through it?
I have this dream that I'm being kidnapped by a man in a mask and taken away from my parents.
Okay, so what are some aspects of this dream that we can draw out?
Sometimes I feel hopeless and powerless, and that someone is always out to get me.
Okay, and so how can we take what you just said and let it benefit us in today's time?
To always be aware of your surroundings so that you can feel in charge of any situation that might occur.
Good.
Another fear that I have is death.
Okay, would you want to walk through that thought?
I don't know, that seems very scary to me.
Okay, well, that's up to you, but if you would like to, I can be here for the entire process.
Okay, I guess we could try.
Okay, so take a moment to relax. Okay, first, I want you to think about how this event will occur.
I feel that I could possibly die in a terrible car crash due to my beginner driving skills.
Okay, keep going.
I can see my bloody body laying on the hood of the car, passed out, unconscious.
Okay, and how did you end up on the hood of the car?
I don't wear my seatbelt half the time. I can hear the police sirens and ambulance sirens and the helicopter blades in the distance.
Okay, that was pretty deep, but that was really good. Can we now think about your funeral? Who all could you see in the audience? What do you see taking place?
Well, I see my friends and family crying as they mourn my death. However, I feel grief because I feel like I haven't done enough for my family and friends.
So you seem really focused on getting that new position at work, almost to the point that you're obsessed with it.
Yes, I just really want it. It pays well. I feel I'd be great in this position, and it has better hours and everything.
Okay, so let's take a moment to think about what would happen if you didn't get the promotion. Would you still have a paycheck, and would you still be able to make ends meet?
Yes, I just hope they don't give it to someone else.
okay? But would it really be that bad if somebody else got that job? Wouldn't that benefit somebody else? And you have to think that you're already doing well in your position now. You know, you're making a difference in other people's lives.
Yeah, I can see that too.